Hello everyone. So today I'm going to talk about fear, or to be more specific, the paradoxical nature of fear. So this is just going to be a short video. So first I'll clarify what I mean when I say fear, because fear, like many of the experiences of the human intellect, is composed of several constituents, and in this case those constituents are threefold. The first being what I would call panic or alarm. This is when an event or the object of fear is known and understood, but it happens suddenly and it's unpredicted. So, for example, you can imagine, say, this could be anything you were prepared for, but you don't know when it's going to happen, and it happens immediately. Something like a fire alarm or a car crash that happens in front of you, or something like that. It's a known event. It's something that you've seen happen before, but it's the immediacy of it results in a feeling of alarm or panic, which we call a type of fear. The second type of fear is dread. That's when something is known and understood again, but it is unimmediate. So you don't know when it's going to happen. You know that it's going to happen, but you're not sure when. And or rather, in this case, it would generally be an unknown event that you know is going to happen, but you don't know when. So this could be the feeling of apprehensiveness or dread which one feels in an abandoned house or a dark room or something like that. You know that it's possible. There could be the object of fear could be a material, physical thing that could be there. Although you don't know when you're going to find it, if you are going to find it. And this is sort of a step up from the panic or alarm. That sort of dread. And then there is the most extreme form of fear, which is terror, which is when something is unknown and immediate. So, for example, a startling noise which you can't place in any context. Horror movies use this all the time. Again, this is probably where a lot of PTSD comes from. It's something which a person has no prior experience of, which happens immediately. And this ties in with how PTSD develops, and how fear is really just a chemical process that is occurring in a part of the brain known as the amygdala. There's of course also the hippocampus, which is important here because that's where short-term memories are formed and stored. And both the hippocampus and the amygdala are influenced by the same factors, the same sort of neurogenetic factors, which can be sort of alleviated through the consumption of, say, omega-3 acids and what have you. But that's sort of neither here nor there. The fact of the matter is, when we talk of fear, in any and all cases, we are never really talking about something that is certain. So we could talk about, something that's known and immediate, so known and unpredicted, unknown and predicted, or else something that's unknown and unpredicted. In all cases of fear, there is an element of the unknown or the unpredictable. If something was totally known and totally predictable, say on Tuesday next week you're going to die from lymphoma or something like that, or you're going to have a heart attack and die. That's an absurdity, of course. No medical sort of practitioner could tell you, exactly when you're going to die. But if something is absolutely known, like this is the day and date that this is going to happen, and this is exactly what's going to happen, and you know exactly what this is because you've experienced it before. If such a thing were possible, say for example, like the first time you sit a certain exam, the material on the exam might be unknown, but the second time you sit it, you know exactly when it's going to be. You know exactly the conditions of the exam. If you were to sit the same exam twice, there would be no fear or apprehension. You know what I mean. And if death, which is often cited as being like the source of all fear, which is rather erroneous in my opinion, because if death itself was known and predictable, it would be impossible to fear it. And so, as the object of fear draws nearer, it is not the inevitability of that object of fear becoming a reality, becoming manifest, which triggers our fear impulse. But rather, it is the possibility that we might survive, that it might that the terror might be alleviated, and that the problem won't become manifest. The possibility that the object of fear won't materialize is a necessitation of the incurrence of fear itself. It would be impossible to be afraid if the object of fear was a certainty. And that's this is the fundamental paradox of the phenomenon of fear. Because surely, if an object of fear was truly potent, it would be a certainty. And if it's a certainty, then but if it's a certainty, it would be impossible to fear it. And we must also remember that if it was a total fiction, it's also very possible to fear it then again, if the fiction is convincing. Think, for example, as my videos also always end up drawing on politics in some way, think of say, for example, an act of terrorism, or a government policy which, like what you can see with the sort of the mask wearing and all of that nowadays in our society. Of course, when you understand the object of fear in its essence, the possibility for fear diminishes. But people who don't understand what's going on are the ones who are most afraid. And in many cases, a total fiction, a total fantasy, a horror story, for example, is what's most potent in engendering fear in a human intellect. That's why I say people are often afraid of horror movies, but yet they look at true crime with curiosity. They look at the events surrounding, say, I don't know, Jeffrey Dahmer eating people, and they look at that with curiosity. That's interesting, that Jeffrey Dahmer kidnapped and ate people. But then they look at, say, The Hills Have Eyes, and then they get afraid that they're seeing fictional people eating people. In many cases, the fiction is more is more convincing than the reality, and that just goes to show how paradoxical fear is. If human beings could understand exactly everything that was going to happen to them at every point, it would be not only redundant, it would be outright impossible for us to experience fear. And the fact of the matter that the amygdala can be influenced by such by chemical processes to such a point that fear is almost completely diminished just demonstrates this further. In fact, there have been some cases of the amygdala being damaged in some subjects, and those subjects are incapable of being afraid of anything. Even a person who can understand, say, for example, that if the alarm is sounded, there might be a fire in the building, and they might then say, "Okay, I got to get out of the building," and they might struggle to get out of the building. Then that process would be a fearless process if it wasn't for the chemical process of the amygdala. Now, I'm not going to get into right now how thought is a chemical process, a physical process. That's sort of a topic I've touched on in some other videos where it wasn't a central topic, and I'll probably make a video on that in more details shortly. But yeah, just a short video today. The paradox of fear.